Hello, I'm Jamie Flinchball, and in this course, we're going to explore management systems, what that means, their role in our organization, and ultimately, how we affect them. Our management systems are all around us. They answer questions for us like, what do we measure? How do we understand the current state? How do we make decisions? And how do we stay aligned? They're in and around us and invisible to most of us. The activities aren't visible, but how they operate as a system, it's very hard to get a comprehensive view of. We only see a portion. But ultimately, our management systems are a part of our overall system that determines what outcomes we get, what strategy we ultimately implement, and it determines the day-to-day execution of our organization. The collective efforts of our management systems ultimately determines what our strategy is. We might not think that's true because we set our strategy, but our strategy is just intent. We intend to go in this direction. We intend to achieve these outcomes. But execution ultimately determines what our strategy turns out to be. And execution is a function of our culture, of our systems, and our management systems are a huge part of that. By understanding our management systems, we understand what our strategy is really going to be. But they often aren't connected. And so when we start to look at the strategy and the culture that we're trying to build, we need to understand the relationship to the management systems that determines our day-to-day execution. Most of our management systems are built accidentally. It doesn't mean that we aren't making conscious decisions, but we're making them ad hoc. We're making them in isolation. We build one new report, one new meeting, one new review, and piece by piece, we build up layers of our management system, rarely taking pieces away. What's worse is that the product of our current culture are many decisions that build that management system. And in turn, that management system reinforces our current culture, whether it's the culture we really want or not. So when we start to look at the management systems that we had, what actually created them and what are they reinforcing? And when we start to look at it as a comprehensive system, we might not like exactly what we see. So how do we deconstruct and then reconstruct the management systems that get us to our strategic intent? Well, we need a framework. Now, I believe that all models are wrong and some are useful. So I'm not going to suggest that this is the only way to break down your management system, but it serves a couple of purposes in the framework that we'll share. One is it helps us look fairly comprehensively from end to end of how our management system works, and it elevates certain underappreciated elements that a lean management system really should highlight. So we're going to look at 7 subsystems of our management system. Overall, we're going to look at the diagnostics. How do we understand where we are and why we're getting the results that we're getting? We're going to look at decision making, the who, what, where, when, why, and how of the decisions that get made. We're going to look at problem solving. How do we find them? How do we solve them? How do we manage them? We're going to look at our people, how we get the right talent in the right place at the right time. Our knowledge management, how knowledge is created, stored, and used. We're going to look at our direction. How do we set our strategic direction and stay aligned to it? We're also going to look at our cadence and synchronization. How do we make sure that we stay on pace and execute and stay on the same page as we execute day in and day out? These 7 elements make up our management system as a whole and provide a framework for us to deconstruct, reconstruct, and improve our management system to get to our day-to-day execution.